So I've heard that quite a few students have downloaded OpenRefine directly to their computers. That's absolutely possible, but not necessary, because we have installed OpenRefine also on the DSRI. So you can just find it if you go to the launcher, which is actually like the landing page where you can also see the Python tree kernel and the different other applications running on the DSRI. And if that gets hidden because you have too many tabs open up here, you can always find it by going to tabs and then just selecting the launcher, which takes you back. So if you, for example, open a script in the notebooks and the launcher gets pushed all the way to the right here, then you can go to tabs and just like click on launcher and you're back on the landing page. And here you can open Refine directly without any further installation on your own computers. Yeah, so then if you go to your storage location and then you can select your CSV file, upload it, go to next, and then you get a preview if the data are all separated out on the right columns. And if that looks okay, you don't need to change anything down here. You just go to create project. Then it's opening up, and now you also have the little drop-down menus to work with your different facets and filters, and you also have the export option, which is quite important. So depending on the settings that you use, it may actually be that the launcher is not visible directly also in the tab section, and a workaround is just to open a new tab here, which will then also bring you back to like the main interface where you can open OpenRefine. So the next question I got was how to use the filters and facets. So I did explain it in like a text version with screenshots on modules, but I know that like a few people find it difficult to process written information, which I understand. So this is why I would also like to give you a short demonstration here. So if I, for example, have my Narcissist Apocalypse podcast reviews file, I click here, and first I need to generate a project. So if all of this looks nice and is clearly separated into columns, I don't have to do anything down here. I just click on create project and open it. And then these little arrows are showing up in each column, and they are drop-down menus that I can use to filter data. There is a traditional text filter, which you can use to find individual words. So for example, if I want all the reviews that use the word heart, I type heart, and then I have 8 matching rows out of the 177 total that my data set contains. And if a filter is selected and I export the data set, it would really only give me that filtered data set. So to jump back to what I had before, I need to go to remove all, and the filters will be gone, and I'm back to 177 rows. I doubt that you will be using the text filter, because for our purpose it doesn't make so much sense. What is much more interesting is the facet filter, which gives you the opportunity to select from given data. So you have to go, for example, if you want to work with star ratings, to like the ratings column and choose facet, text facet, and then all the possible ratings are coming up. And it's quite nice that behind the ratings, you also see how frequent they are. So in this data set, we can see it's a popular podcast because 142 reviews out of 177 give it 5 stars, which is fantastic. And then if you just want to see the 5-star ratings, you click on the 5, and then they open up here. And then you can see we now have, of course, you can always like change also the display size. So now I can basically see the full data set. So we then get 142 out of the 177 with 5-star rating. Yeah, and if I then export this, it will only give me the selected data set and not all of what's available. Yeah, so this is another short demonstration how you can filter data in OpenRefine. There's basically two opportunities to work with data. One is to use a filter where you can just type in any kind of word and search for it in the review column, for example, or you can operate with a facet which pre-selects an existing value, and that's especially nice for filtering by star ratings when you're working with podcasts. So I'll show you the traditional filter first. So you select the column where you want to filter. So in this case, we just take the reviews and then we go to text filter. And then a box opens up on the left-hand side. And then we can maybe select all the reviews that have Rachel in it, because I think she's one of the presenters. So let me just see if that worked. I think it did. Yeah. Oh yeah, Rachel, especially Rachel. So all of them have Rachel in it. You can see it also here, Rachel's family members. So that worked. So we have a smaller data set now, just 7 matching rows in this case. And like if this was a particular research question we wanted to answer, etc., we could also export this selected data set just using the export function and just like create a separate Excel file that only has these 7 matching rows in it. So be aware that as soon as any kind of like facet or filter is open here and it says 7 matching rows out of like a total of a few thousand, you will only get those 7 matching rows in the export file. Otherwise, you have to go to remove all and get rid of all the facets. So if you see this here, like the start screen, it means you can see all 1094 rows and it's the full data set. But as soon as you have a filter open and export, it's only going to be a fraction of the data set that you're exporting. So we can also do the same, for example, with the title, that we can also have a text filter and then, I don't know, maybe look for journalism because some reviews mention that. And then we can see we have 14 rows where the title does mention journalism, as you can see, and we could also potentially go to export and create a sub data set that really only has these 14 matching rows out of the total of 1,000 and more. I doubt that this text filtering is particularly relevant to what you are doing, but you might absolutely want to work with the facets to get the star ratings. So in this data set, I have 1 and 2 star ratings. And if I just want to have a separate data set for the 1 star ratings, I can go to facet and choose the text facet, and then it shows me the split, the divide between the 1 and the 2 star ratings. So the 1 star ratings outnumber the 2 star ratings. In this case, we have 731. And then if I click on the 1, it only shows me like these 731 matching rows here on the right hand side. And if I then go to export and for example create an Excel file, the export file I'm getting is just that. So we can just like open it to double check, and we can see that we only have 732 rows. The first row, of course, is always like the data headers, and the last row is like the last review. So that's just that particular selected data set. And I could do the same also for like the 2 star ratings. So if I go to reset all and then click on the 2 stars, I get 318 matching rows, and those are for the 2 star ratings. And here too, I can use the export function and just like select whatever file format I want and make an output. I think that's pretty straightforward. So let's remove all the filters to come back to the full data set. What is also important for some people working with OpenRefine is how to get just the reviews out as a text file. That's also possible. If you're working in OpenRefine, you can then go to export and go to custom tabular, which opens an overview of all the different columns that your data set has. And you can then decide that the index isn't important, user isn't important, timestamp isn't important, but maybe the title and the review are. And you can just like select those here on the right hand side, you can leave it as it is. That's perfectly fine. And then just go to download and decide which file format you want. And to get a TXT file, I recommend the custom separated T export, and then just click on download. Not all students will actually want to work with OpenRefine, because they might really just want to grab the whole data set as it is. So you can also just really open it in Google Sheets or Excel or whatever you're using and copy and paste the review column to a TXT file. But it's also perfectly possible to work with what they call like the custom tabular exporter in OpenRefine and select the data from there. So there is a web link here to the actual official tutorial on the documentation side that I will also copy in your discussion boards, or maybe an announcement to everybody so you can find it again. And I will also upload this video for you guys so you can see how it works. So remember that when you are in OpenRefine, so I'm just going to open it again so you can see how that works. The entire data. So for this purpose, you have to use the custom tabular. And there is an opportunity to unselect all the rows that you don't want to use. So for example, in this case, you might just want to use the title and the reviews. Then you can also like swap this to make sure that the title comes out on top of the reviews. And then once you have done this, you can go to download and select custom separator /t, which is going to give you a TXT file. Exactly what we need to work with Voyant. You can also see that there is a character encoding preset to UTF-8, which is an international encoding standard for displaying special characters. And in most cases, that should actually give you a fairly clean data set. So some students also asked how to reverse the date order. So I'm just going to demonstrate this once again. Your file is now open in OpenRefine as it comes out of the scraper, and the scraper catches the latest podcast first. So you can see if you scroll down that the reviews from 2021 are now at the bottom, and the ones from 2023 December, so like the ones that were only posted a few days ago, are at the top. But that is quite distorting if you want to work with like over time development and the trends tool, so you can just reverse. So what you have to do is open the drop-down menu, go to sort, and then instead of Z to A, which is what we've now got, you can go to A to Z and just click. And then you can see that the earliest one coming up is now actually from April 2019. I think it's a little bit confusing that you also potentially have the option to select numbers, dates, and Booleans here. And I think a lot of people click dates because what we have is essentially dates, but we did parse it as text. So just really as a string. I'm recording. So I think one problem is that a lot of students saw numbers, dates, and Booleans here as well, and selected dates because dates is what we're actually working with, and then it didn't work. But the text file that we're ingesting treats all of it as text. So basically just select text here, don't make any changes, and just swap between Z to A and A to Z, and click OK, and then you have the correct order. If you want to reverse, you can open sort again and go back to Z to A, click OK, and then December 2023 is now at the top of the data set again. So when you have sorted your data in the new way, then it's also important that you save the sorting first before you get the opportunity to export it. So now we have the 2019 reviews at the top of the data set and the early ones at the bottom. And then we need to confirm by going to sort and clicking reorder rows permanently, which then saves that particular setting. And if you now export your data to a new Excel file, for example, and open this, you will actually see that now also in the Excel file, the 2019 podcast reviews are at the top of the data set, so that should be clear enough. We also had one issue, especially on Mac computers, that a lot of the emojis and punctuation came out really wonky when ingesting data that was encoded with UTF-8 into Voyant tools. So to change this, the best way is to open your data in OpenRefine and fix the encoding in the custom tabular export setting. So you can here select the rows you want to export, title and review in most cases, and go to download. And instead of just like accepting character encoding UTF-8, you can switch to UTF-8 16 and download that file by selecting T as the custom separator. And if you now open the file in your text editor, you should already see that like emojis are actually coming out as images, and the same should also happen when you ingest the file in Voyant. So we just like give it a try and go to the Voyant website, upload a file. So that's the last one that I created. Click on open, fetching the corpus. And you can now see in the middle panel that all the hyphens and all the punctuation marks are correct. And we also get emojis displaying as emojis, which is very nice if you want to use the reader just to like follow your text. Yeah, so that's how that works.